You've heard the story of the Sunday school class where a teacher says, "What's brown and furry and runs up trees?" And the students all sit and listen. They don't want to get the answer wrong. And one of them says, "Well, I think it's a squirrel, but I'll say Jesus." Because we know in Sunday school that the answer to every question, the right answer is Jesus. Now, the question that you just asked me was why mobilize young people into mission, and I'm going to give that same answer, Jesus. I really believe that we mobilize young people into mission because of Jesus, and actually because that's what Jesus did himself. When I was in my early 20s, one of my mentors said, "Did you know that maybe the majority, maybe most of Jesus' disciples were teenagers when he called them?" And I said, "No, that's not possible. That can't be. They have all those pictures I've seen there. They're old and they have beards. Maybe they had beards as teenagers." But he talked about the fact that only one of them is recorded as having a wife, and that John wrote the book of Revelation in 96 AD. So that meant he was quite young when he started following Jesus. And there's also the parable of the paying of the tax in the temple, and Jesus pulls a coin out of the fish's mouth and says, "Go pay my tax and yours, Peter." But all the disciples were there, and you actually didn't have to pay the temple tax till you were 20 years old. Could it be that only Jesus and Peter were over 20 years old when he called them? We don't know for sure. But what we do know is that Jesus mobilized young people into mission. And we need to not be afraid of that too. Often we think that they've got to be more mature, they've got to be more experienced. But actually those young years, maybe 15, 16, 17, 20, 21, high school, university, that's the time to mobilize them in a mission. They have the space, they have the time, they have the energy, they're idealistic, they're moldable, you don't have to unlearn a lot of things. I think we mobilize tomorrow's missionaries by mobilizing them when they're teenagers and while they're in university. And that's the quickest way to get people on mission with Jesus.